Second time's the charm. There we go.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode here at the Desai Guys Football Forum. I am one of your co-hosts, Amr Desai, joined as always by my good friend, my good buddy, the other half of the Desai Guys, Mr. Tad Desai. And Tad, like we talked about last week, we are crossing that half-point threshold. You know, with the 17-game schedule, it's a little bit different. It's not your definitive halfway point, but I think we're past that finally. We're heading into Week 9. Crazy. I mean, we talked about this in a previous episode before, but there's a lot of surprise teams, both good and bad. We may get into some surprise players in a different episode, but it's just like, yeah, it's been a very interesting season so far. How've you been feeling about it?
It's been an interesting season. It's going to be an interesting episode. To give people a little bit of context into the beginning of this episode, that was our second time trying to record this, and also I've been dealing with mic issues. So this episode should be very, very interesting to see how this goes. Just as interesting as this season has been. I mean, I won't get into it yet, but the quarterback pick I have for this week just shows you how crazy this entire season is, because I never thought I'd be like, yeah, take this guy this season.
Yeah, definitely. There's been news that happened over the weekend and even today too.
Oh
so it's just
God.
like, yeah, totally affecting things.
I should, preface this by saying I never hope a player gets injured. I hope Derrick Henry gets better. But 2 weeks ago, I traded Derrick Henry, and my entire league was screaming at me. How could you possibly trade Derrick Henry? I look like a goddamn genius today. It is great.
You definitely got bailed out there. So, yes, we will get into the Derrick Henry injury. Obviously, we do have a replacement for him. But, yes, let's start with the quarterback position here first, Tad. Who are some of your waiver wire options? You said you have an interesting pick this week. So, who do you like for Week 9? Because looking at the bye week teams, we got the Detroit Lions, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we got the Washington football team, and the Seattle Seahawks. So, of the 4 teams, you probably only have to worry about replacing Tom Brady. If you're starting any of the other quarterbacks in your league, it's like...
Don't do Jared Goff dirty like that. Come on.
If you're in a 2-quarterback league or a super flex league, maybe you're starting one of those other quarterbacks possibly, but...
Or a 14-man league.
Or a 14-man league, I guess. So, yeah, you probably don't need an option, but yeah, if you do have Tom Brady, you need to find an option. Tad, who are you suggesting here?
I mean, like I said, and first off, I need to give a shout out to my friend Matt here who goes, well, all the Desai guys do is shit on the Bears. Well, you know what, buddy? Here you go. I think you should pick up Justin Fields. I said it. Now, here's the thing. Do I think he's capable of being a starter absolutely next week? Honestly, kind of. But he's not a clear-cut, like, if you get him, start him type of guy. But I think he's a good, backup option at quarterback for now who could develop into a guy that later on in the season, week 15, 16, because don't forget, we're only 3 weeks away from the trade deadline with most fantasy football leagues. So if you're in a bit of a quarterback pickle, you don't have a lot of time to either work out a trade or you got to rely on those waiver wire pickups. So I think this is a guy you can stash away 3 or 4 weeks from now. You can go, told you that was a good pickup because, look, I know his passing numbers weren't that impressive this year or this past week. He had 175 yards, a touchdown, and an interception, but it's his rushing numbers. 10 rushes, 103 yards, and a touchdown. And that touchdown, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, that might have been the coolest quarterback rushing play I've ever seen. That was absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I know it was against your team. I'm sorry, but that was awesome. That was great.
Yeah, believe me, I'm watching that play and I was like, he should have been tackled here. He should have been tackled here. He should have been tackled here. And yet he somehow broke all those tackles on a 4th down play. Remind you that if you don't remember, it was a 4th down play and he was able to drive it all the way into the touchdown.
So for those of you who didn't see it, basically what happened was, and correct me if I'm wrong, he either dropped the snap or something. He cut to the right and then was just, met with a brick wall. And so he cut it all the way across the field and then ran it 20 yards for a touchdown. It was, I was telling my friend Matt, I was like, I think that was like a 60-yard run for 20 yards.
That's exactly what it was. But that just shows you the ability that Justin Fields has as a runner, not just as a passer too. I know he sort of came into the draft process of being like, you know what, I'm only going to run if I have to, but I want to be more of a pocket passer. But in these situations, if you have the ability to run, do it. And it's like, as a fantasy, if you can pick him up, this is definitely an advantage for you because you get those rushing yards, you get the passing yards. He's still adjusting to being a passing quarterback in the league still, but if he can get out and move like this, that's just a benefit for you.
Well, and so I'll give another shout out to a listener of ours is Jay, probably our most loyal listener when it comes to interacting with us on Twitter. Is he tweeted at us, I think it was yesterday, it might have been today, going, I'm surprised Matt Nagy is still there because honestly, the best thing Matt Nagy has done for this team is going home with COVID. So I'm shocked that Matt Nagy was not fired post game just because of like, dude, you could have been doing this the entire season. What's been going on? So if Matt Nagy does a smart thing and just goes, okay, whatever we did while I was out, we're just doing that again, then Justin Fields should be pretty good for the rest of the season. If Matt Nagy does the probable Matt Nagy thing and goes, no, we're going back to my thing, he's gonna get canned. For sure. There's not a doubt in my mind. So you look at who else Justin Fields has coming up. First off, this very next week, he's going against the Steelers. And I know a lot of people are going to go, oh, TJ Watt, that Steelers defense, I'm staying away from it. You shouldn't. Because TJ Watt is basically the only thing that Steelers defense is going for it. They've allowed every single quarterback except for two to score 15-plus points against them this season. Those two quarterbacks, by the way, Geno Smith, congratulations, and a very, very injured Baker Mayfield. So I'm not convinced this Steelers defense is that great. He does play some other good defenses. He plays the Packers a couple weeks from now. He plays the Cardinals a couple weeks from now. But look, J.J. Watt's out for the season. That Cardinals defense is slowly getting more and more beat up. So who knows what their state's going to be in a couple weeks. So look, Justin Fields has a pretty favorable schedule other than a couple matchups there, here and there. So look, it's a risky play for sure. But if you're really hurting for a quarterback backup, I think Justin Fields could be worth the risk.
Yeah, it's not a bad addition this week for sure, playing the Steelers on Monday Night Football. Hopefully he could sort of replicate what he did against the Niners into that game on Monday night against the Steelers. So, yeah, not a bad addition for week 9
I didn't know that
here.
was the Monday night game. That's going to be interesting.
For my addition is actually a guy that we've talked about before, and that's Derek Carr, the Las Vegas Raiders. So heading into this week, they're going to be playing the Giants. And if you've been watching the game against the Giants and the Chiefs right now,
14-10 right now.
It's just surprising that, there's a lot of chances that, the Chiefs could probably obliterate this defense. But for some reason, there's something wrong with the Chiefs. We already talked about this many times already. But this Chiefs defense can allow big plays to happen. And,
who could have guessed that paying your quarterback $500 million could take away from the rest of your roster? That's a real shocker.
It's just crazy to think about that. But look at this. This is an insane stat here, Tad. So in the game before the bye week, they played the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Derek Carr completed 31 passes on 34 attempts, an insane 91% completion percentage in that game. That just tells you that John Gruden really, I don't know what he was doing in this offense, because Rich Bisaccia clearly has unlocked something. Greg Olsen is really getting the most out of Derek Carr here. Obviously, they headed into the bye week, like we said. That gives them more chance to sort of get acclimated to this offense. Now they're going to play the Giants right off the bye week, and I think Derek Carr can continue a strong level of play, especially when you need an option in week 9 to stream here, or, just you need an option because somebody's hurt or something like that, just need a better matchup here. Derek Carr is your guy, because, it's like, he's really been looking like a capable quarterback. I don't know for sure if he's going to be a long-term answer in Las Vegas. There's a lot of talk about.
He's like 31 at this point. It's kind of hard to be a long-term answer.
Well, besides that, from what I'm hearing, Mark Davis just was never high on Derek Carr to begin with. So it's like, depending on what happens at the end of the season, if they're going to rebuild it completely or they're going to go with Bisaccia and go with Derek Carr, like, I really don't know. But as far as fantasy purposes,
I'm sipping an Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams rumor here.
We'll see about that. They could be crazy enough to do something like that. But for week 9, if you need a quarterback option, I think Derek Carr has become a very dependable player. Like I said, I think they're going to get more acclimated to this Greg Olsen offense. Everybody's going to be more buying into this fact that's like, they're one of the front runners to possibly win the AFC West, especially with the, the Chiefs playing pretty bad. The Broncos are very hit or miss every so often. The Chargers are their only serious competition right now. So if they can keep pace with the Chargers,
they're super inconsistent. What
they are as well
going on in LA?
They are as well. So it's a very interesting division race for sure. So if Derek Carr can keep playing the way he's playing, I think, Raiders have a really strong chance. So I really like Derek Carr here week 9 against the Giants. Really good fantasy matchup.
I like it. I feel like we've been singing this guy's praises all season.
We have.
This is the third or fourth time we shout him out on the show. So, yeah, go for Derek Carr. This offense is exploding. It's amazing what happens when you take your offense out of the early 2000s, isn't it? That's just – who could have possibly seen that coming?
Exactly.
Almost as if John Gruden was grossly overrated and overpaid.
Overpaid for sure. Overrated. Yeah, I think you could probably slide the, marker towards that one as well.
Wait, you're telling me someone in a television booth isn't a good person? I'm blown. Holy crap.
All right, let's get into the running backs here, Tad. So here's your option here for Week 9 running back waiver wire additions.
I mean, I'm stealing a little bit for the broadcast of the game this weekend. Mark Ingram looks damn good in a Saints jersey, doesn't he? It just looks right.
I think just coming back home where you started your career, I think back with his, one of his BFFs, Alvin Kamara, they had such a great relationship in New Orleans. So it's just like all of that really affects your play. And it's like when you're in a team with Houston, they were going nowhere fast. It's like if you could go back to a team that has playoff aspirations still, it's like they just came off a very impressive win with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers divisional win. It's like that sort of rejuvenates your juices. So yeah, I think it's a very good addition here, but I'll let you sort of go into it a little bit more here.
Well, so two things. First off, my favorite part of the Mark Ingram trade was Brandon Cooks basically being like, this is bullshit. He gets a jump ship and I had to stay here. Like, come on, man. So I'm hoping he gets a jump ship as well. But also,
we still got some time. With that one.
Hopefully, especially as a Brandon Cooks guy, he's on my roster, so hopefully that happens. But also, my second favorite part is I saw this number 14 guy catch a ball out of the backfield and kind of break it off for almost 10 yards. I was like, who the hell is this number 14 guy? They go, that's Mark Ingram. I'm like, 14, really? And then apparently he's actually kind of upset that he has to wear 14. So be ready for a jersey number change there. But either way, I mean, look, I just said it. Literally 3 days after this dude gets traded and he arrives in New Orleans, he's already playing for them. They clearly needed some backup running back help. So I think the more he gets ingrained with this new playbook, I'm really not sure quite how much changed, but still, get reacclimated with it. The more he gets involved in this offense, the more touches I think he's going to get. Because Alvin Kamara is a Kamara, because he got mad about this a couple weeks ago with someone else mispronouncing it.
I always say Kamara, but
see, I always go Kamara. Alvin K, the chipmunk, the one with the red sweater, before this, he was rushing up to 20 times a game, not including even his receiving touches, just rushing touches were 20 a game. That's not sustainable throughout the entire season. So in all likelihood, that's going to go down. Mark Ingram's touches are going to go up. So I think Mark Ingram is going to eventually, if not by this time next week, definitely 2 weeks from now, play his way into being a viable flex option. And I know you can say this with a lot of guys you can pick up on waivers. If Kamara, whatever, if he goes down, that is one of the key free agency pickups that you can get. And there's no better feeling than being like, hey, I already got him. Like, imagine if some genius fortune teller had Adrian Peterson on his roster for some reason, and now all of a sudden it's just like, hey, you want him? I'm listening to trade offers, because that is exactly where you'll get if Kamara gets hurt. Not saying that I want him to get hurt, but if he does, that's gold. That's absolute gold for you. So I think Mark Ingram can be a very, very valuable pickup. And in case you're wondering, he's available in 75% of ESPN leagues. So he's out there for a lot of you.
Yeah, too bad Kamara's number is not 47, because I think one of my favorite nicknames when Andrei Kirilenko, the Utah Jazz, used to be in his prime, they called him AK-47. I was like, this is so appropriate.
He was Russian. He was Russian, too.
Well, part of that, too, but it's just like, it fit on so many levels. But in this case, it's just, yeah, he's 41. It just, I don't know. Is there an AK-41? I'm not a guns guy, so I
no, there's not an AK-41. Move to Texas, man.
But yeah, so Mark Ingram's a very worthy addition.
By the way, speaking of foreign basketball players, you want to hear my nickname for Luka Doncic?
Let's hear it.
The Beluga Whale.
Wow, I can't believe I just heard that. But anyways,
he's a white whale.
Well, let's move on here. So we sort of talked about this earlier, and we're obviously going to dive into a little bit here, is that the Derrick Henry injury, that's a serious one. He's going to be out possibly 6 to 10 weeks. 6 is on the optimistic side. 10 is more likely possibly out for the season, because it's like if they want to think about this guy long term, you're probably putting him on ice.
That's my bet, is they're going to bring him back way too soon and he's going to get hurt again. That's
very possible. Prediction. It's very possible. So he has a right foot injury. They're saying it's a Jones fracture. It was a very serious injury. So we'll see what the timetable is. But obviously for the, like I said, at least 2 months here, you're probably not going to be able to use him. So you got to find an option here. And Tad already sort of teased this year. Adrian Peterson, he's just been signed. He's going to be on the practice squad, but they're going to elevate him to the main rosters. I don't even know why they're signing him to the practice squad to begin with. Like, I don't understand the technicality there, but the fact is he's going to be one of their starters heading into the season now going forward for them. But here's the name that I want to actually give you, and that's actually Jeremy McNichols. He is the current backup for Derrick Henry. And yes, I think Adrian Peterson, still this late in his career, he's still going to be able to contribute to this offense, but I think he's still going to be splitting carries with Jeremy McNichols. And then also the biggest thing is that since he was signed today, he's going to have to understand how to play in this offense. So it's going to be a little bit tougher for him to understand, get everything used to him. Maybe it take a week or two to finally get everything, understanding the zone, the schemes and the gaps and everything like that. So Jeremy McNichols already has a leg up here. And I think he may get used a little bit more often in these first couple of weeks as Adrian Peterson's getting used to it. It's definitely going to be a timeshare. It's probably a backfield you want to avoid now, surprisingly. Whereas with Derrick Henry, it's like you want all of that.
That really changed on a dime real quick, didn't it?
Seriously. So it's like, I think for a couple of weeks, Jeremy McNichols' value is going to be a little bit higher here. And then also you have to think about this. Even when Derrick Henry was playing and he was healthy, Jeremy McNichols was their passing back. I know they didn't use it very much, but now that he's going to be their runner and their pass-catching option out of the backfield, that could possibly lead to more targets and more touches in this offense, and it could bring a little bit of an extra element to this offense because, yeah, now it's like you don't have to rely, or not don't have to, they can't rely on a powerhouse back at Derrick Henry to churn out a lot of yards for you. You need to bring a little bit something different into this offense, so we'll see if Jeremy McNichols can bring an extra element to this offense, and that just means extra fantasy points for you if you can pick him up in your roster. I mean, he's out there, you can pick him up. He's, I think, rostered in only like less than 10% of both leagues in Yahoo and ESPN.
I'm honestly surprised it's that high. I really am.
Yeah, so it's like, as awesome as Derrick Henry was because he was so limited to just being a runner, I'm wondering if Jeremy McNichols can bring a little bit of an added element to this offense, which could just be, really good fantasy option for you for the first couple of weeks. Like I said, it's a very wait and see sort of approach with this backfield because I don't know how much Adrian Peterson's going to be involved. They got Jeremy McNichols. Obviously, they may sign somebody else. There's rumors that they may still try to trade for somebody. So it's like, I really don't know how this is going to happen, but I think for 1 to 2 weeks, Jeremy McNichols is a really safe option here.
So, well, first of all, on the trade note, I love this because that Marlon Mack would fit brilliantly in this system. Like, I think he's the perfect replacement for them. There's no way in hell the Colts are trading him in division. Like, I just love it because the Titans are sitting there like, if he was in any other team, even the Texans, because Texans don't give a crap. They would give them to them right now if they were willing to ship a couple draft picks over. But like, because of the Colts and they're still kind of in the running, no way that's going to happen.
No,
so I think going forward, it's going to be McNichols and Peterson. I actually really like everything you got to say because I think because he's the bigger name, Peterson is going to be the most popular pickup this week. In all honesty, I think McNichols and Peterson kind of a lateral move, to be perfectly honest. Not a single one is really going to be favored that much more than the other. And exactly like what you said, McNichols is the better receiving threat than Peterson, so even if he doesn't get some of those touchdown looks, he'll probably be making it up for in receptions if you're a PPR. So I really like McNichols as a pickup. I would be surprised if they traded for someone at this point. I think that Peterson signing was kind of the final nail of like, okay, we're just going to run with this. Now, I will say this. I wanted to pick this guy because he's actually available in my other league, but then I realized he's only available in about 19% of ESPN leagues. If Ryan Tannehill's available in your league, I say go for it. I know that might be a bit of a hot take, but I think exactly like kind of what Murr said, this running game is going to completely change. Julio Jones, A.J. Brown, knock on wood, hopefully they're going to be healthy from here on out. I think they're going to be a lot more dependent on this passing game, which means Tannehill's attempts are going to shoot up to like 40 or 50 a game now. So I like Tannehill's prospects more than anyone else on the Titans offense. But if you're going running back, I do like McNichols. I think that will be a solid running back. And again, I think you could kind of, like, if you're, 7th or 8th on the roster order, I think you honestly probably could get McNichols. You can sneak in with them because everyone's going to be going for Peterson. So I think if you're the smarter one, a little bit more patient, go for McNichols, you'll get similar returns.
I agree. I agree. It's going to be a very split share, but it's like, yeah, because Peterson has the bigger draw, because he assigned bigger name obviously attached to it, everybody's going to be going after him. You could sneak away with Jeremy McNichols. Let's get into wide receivers here, Tad. Who do you like for week 9 wide receiver additions?
I'll go really quick here. It's Devontae Parker. This number actually surprised me. I didn't think he would meet the threshold for being named on this episode. Just so you guys know, they had to be below 60% for them to make my cutoff at least. So he is available in 44% of ESPN leagues. He is finally back. Jesus Christ, that took long enough. So he is finally back in, coming back from 2 separate injuries he was dealing with at one time. And he came back in big fashion, my friend. He had 11 targets. I did not misspeak. 11 targets, 8 catches, 80 yards. Not a touchdown, though, but that's not that concerning because he put up 12.5 points against a Bills defense that is no joke. Honestly, there's a case to be made. They have the best secondary in the league right now. So being able to do all of that against one of the league's best, if not the league's best defense, has shown me that as long as Will Fuller is still on the IR due to this finger injury, he's going to get a lot of target shares because it's either going to be Gesicki or it's going to be him. Name a single other weapon Tua has. Single one. And I swear to God, if you say Myles Gaskin, I'm kicking you off this podcast.
They also got Malcolm Brown in the backfield. How about that?
All right, so I'll call Chauncey about doing the podcast with him next week. But,
I'll do you one better. Backup tight end Durham Smythe.
Oh, Christ. I am so sorry, Miami fans. Like, I know everyone's like, oh, poor Browns fans and all this crap. Like, Miami has put up with some shit the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Like, good Lord. But anyway, so exactly my point. So it's either Devontae Parker or Mike Gesicki. That's it. That's literally anything they have on the offense, including the offensive line. So basically, as long as Will Fuller's out, I really like Devontae Parker just in terms of pure target share. Like, he's going to get all the throws. So is he going to do like extraordinarily well for you? No. But he is a great bye week replacement, or God forbid, if you have a Derrick Henry situation where you have a star and he goes out all of a sudden, then you can plug Devontae Parker in. He can be good Band-Aid for a week while you figure the rest of your stuff out. So I like Devontae Parker a lot as a late season waiver wire ad right now.
Yeah, especially a week line like we talked about. We got, Washington, Terry McLaurin is out. You got Tampa Bay with Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown are all out. The Lions, okay, they probably don't have the best receiver options there.
Name one Lions receiver that's not somewhat hurt right now.
If
you do, I'm going to be legitimately concerned about you.
And then obviously the Seahawks with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. So, I mean, there are some good receivers that are going to be out on bye week this week. So, yeah, Devontae Parker's a good addition. And actually, my addition, he's actually playing on a short week. It's with the New York Jets. Jamison Crowder. So, Corey Davis is actually still dealing with a hip injury. There's a possibility that he'll play, but because it's on a short week, they're playing on Thursday night against Tad's Colts here. There's a likeliness that he's probably not going to practice, and that's really going to limit how much he'll be able to test that hip and see if he can actually play. I'm leaning towards he'll probably not play, or if he plays, it's going to be very sparingly. So it's like this is a better option for you to go with Jamison Crowder, available in most of your leagues out there. So look, Mike White. Who knew that this guy was actually going to tear it apart against Cincinnati?
Jets 400-yard passer in like 20 years. God, poor Jets fans. Like that whole AFC East, Brady is just screwed. So just all of you. I am so sorry, guys.
Yeah.
And
so
now finally you're like, hey, the Patriots suck, and now here the Bills come. Like, good Lord.
Exactly. So I don't know if Lightning's going to strike twice. I mean, he's most likely going to be the starter. That's what Robert Saleh is sort of leading towards here. But even if he doesn't have the same performance that he did against the Cincinnati Bengals, there's going to be times where possibly it's going to get into garbage time or they're going to have to play catch up. And this is where Mike White will definitely have to go to Jamison Crowder a little bit more. Also, if Michael Carter is available in your league as a running back, he's a really good addition as well.
I just picked him up on Saturday. It was the best decision I've ever made.
It's a really good addition as well. He's definitely was one of those guys that you needed to wait until he finally broke out because of the Jets offense. But yeah, he's a really good addition. If he's available, go pick him up. But yes, Jamison Crowder also is a really good addition. You have to look at the fact that he was injured to start the season, but ever since he came back in the past 4 weeks, he's averaging 7.5 targets and 50.8 receiving yards in every game so far. Just against Cincinnati, he he had 8 receptions for 84 yards. He didn't score, but that sort of involvement means that he's going to be one of the primary targets for Mike White, like I said. So Michael Carter, Jamison Crowder, maybe we'll see some Elijah Moore a little bit, but I think, he's going to lean heavily on his veteran presence in Jamison Crowder. Could do really good damage for you, especially in PPR leagues, like Tad has said. Gets a lot of those receptions. May not score a touchdown for you, but if he gets a lot of those receptions for a lot of yards, that could definitely get you a lot of fantasy points. So Jamison Crowder, definitely worth an add.
I mean, it's the same thing as Devontae Parker. Yeah, the Jets are just going to be passing a ton. He's the most dependable receiver they have out there. He's going to get a lot of targets. It's just in terms of, pure volume. So, yeah, go for it.
Exactly. So we're going to wrap this up really quickly. We're going to talk about a couple tight ends, kickers, and defenses here. You got the Bucs defense on a bye, TJ Hawkinson tight ends on a bye. So, we got some options for you. So Dan Arnold finally getting involved in this Jaguars offense. They just came off the bye week. They probably wanted to go to him a little bit more. They got the athleticism there with Dan Arnold. So he saw 10 targets in that game against the Seattle Seahawks. So hopefully, this could be a steady increase as the season goes along. He's only rostered in 3.7% of ESPN leagues and only 5% of Yahoo leagues. Yes, there's a reason for that, but if you need an addition here, a really stopgap solution while TJ Hawkins is on bye week, I think you could probably go with Dan Arnold here. Pat Freiermuth, the rookie from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
If he's available, go for him.
He's very similar to Arnold. That's like getting slowly more acclimated to this offense, getting more involved, becoming a dependable option for Ben Roethlisberger. Pittsburgh plays Cleveland, so I think this is going to be a very all-hands-on-deck sort of approach for this offense. That's like, if you're available, we're going to be going to you with this offense sort of thing. So they need to get this win against a divisional opponent to stay in the AFC North chase. Roster in only 10% of Yahoo leagues and 8% of ESPN leagues. So Pat Freiermuth, I think, could be a really good addition as well, especially long-term, because he's slowly getting more and more involved in this offense. Tad, you got any tight ends you want to speak about here?
Yeah, so real quick, I'm looking it up now. I don't believe Pittsburgh plays Cleveland. No, Pittsburgh plays the Bears.
Bears this week. I think they play Cleveland probably the week after.
Maybe the week after, and they just came off playing Cleveland. I'm like, did they give them Browns 2 weeks in a row? I was like, damn, that's brutal of them.
Well, either way, he's still going to be involved because, like I said,
it's the Bears, people. They're not going to do well. My God, come on. Like, if you've seen any of that defense, they're fine. I don't care who they're playing. Freiermuth is becoming a very quick favorite target of Roethlisberger. You know why? Because Roethlisberger can't throw it further than 10 yards. Nope. So Freiermuth is always right there, especially when they're in the red zone. So I could, care who they're playing. I think I reached my curse limit for the episode, so I'm trying to shorten it.
Yeah,
but
take it easy.
But I could care less who the Steelers are playing, because I think Freiermuth is going to quickly turn into one of those late season guys who really breaks out and is really consistent as you go on. So now that you stole my guy Freiermuth, because clearly I like him, I don't know. Jordan Akins with the Texans, 5th round rookie. Pharaoh Brown's out with a thigh injury. He had 8 points this past week. Maybe that helps his case. Look at Jordan Akins if you're really desperate. I know this tight end class this year sucks, people.
Yeah, especially at the free agent pool here. So as far as kickers, Younghoe Koo is still a good option. They're playing the New Orleans Saints this upcoming week. Rostered only 53.2% at ESPN leagues and 69% at Yahoo leagues. A little bit more there. But yeah, he's definitely one of the more reliable kickers. Like I said, in a divisional game, there may be chances where he'll have to settle for field goals for this Atlanta offense possibly, So really good option if he's still available in your leagues out there. Any kickers for us out there, Ted?
I got no kickers. I just got defense for you guys. Surprisingly, well, I shouldn't say surprisingly, because we did call that this defense would be better than people thought. New England Patriots defense, they're going up against a Chargers offense that is legit. I mean, this Chargers offense is everything we thought they would be. This defense just has to kind of get their stuff together. Like, I'm sure my Chargers friends are just kind of losing their minds here over at LAP Network, because damn, guys, you guys got to clean it up. You're losing some games here that you should not be losing. But anyway, so the Patriots put up 12 points against a very capable Chargers offense. And who are they playing next week? The Carolina Panthers. Sam Darnold's inconsistent and likely concussed. So I like it. Christian McCaffrey's still out. I like the Patriots is one of those sneaky good defenses. Again, you're 9th or 10th on the waiver wire. Your defense is out on a bye, or frankly, you just don't like the defense you have now. Patriots are one of those ones that you'll pick up. People go, good luck, and they'll get you double digits.
As a good addition. I actually like your Colts on the short week against the Jets. That should be a pretty good matchup for them as well.
I don't trust them. I don't trust anything with the Colts now.
Fair enough. And then also the New Orleans defense is surprisingly rostered in only 55.1% of ESPN leagues and 46% of Yahoo leagues. They're playing the Atlanta Falcons this coming week. I think they're going to play hard, riding the momentum of just being the Buccaneers over the weekend. So I think they definitely want to get another divisional win. They'll probably play hard on defense for sure.
All you got to do is step on Matt Ryan's other hand and you're good to go.
Oh, that was interesting.
That's so gross. That was nasty.
And then the funny thing is that because they were wearing red and black uniforms, it sort of like blended in with everything. It was so weird.
And plus, it was Halloween weekend too. So
Exactly.
In the worst way
interesting. It was so interesting. But, yep, those are our waiver wire additions for this week. We definitely want to help you out as the week progresses. Make sure you're hitting us up on all of our Twitter accounts down below. You got my handle, I'm Decide23. You got Tad's at TadDecide94. You got the show handle, The Decide Guys. Hit us up, interact with us. We want to help you set your roster. We want to help you out with any trade advice, stardom, sit-ems. Anything and everything. We're here to help you out, guys. And, we can't appreciate you guys enough. We just surpassed the 100 episode mark with the YouTube and the podcast. It's been a super, super awesome time. Completely having a blast. We're so happy to do this. And here's to another 100 more episodes. And to everybody that's listening, watching, subscribing, gave us a good rating. Anything and everything in between. We really, really can't thank you guys enough. Appreciate it.
And don't forget, please like and subscribe on YouTube. That's going to help us reach so much more people. And as always, thank you so much for listening. And like Amir said, if you're in emergency mode with that Derrick Henry thing because you weren't smart enough to trade him away 2 weeks ago like some certain people, we're here to help. So be sure to hit us up on Twitter.